since, as you've alluded to, obviously you've been playing some games still. Are
Hmm.
you someone where, is there any way in which, like in esports, you would make some kind of a comeback? It doesn't have to be as a player. Like, do you still want to be involved, like on the industry level? Like, have you done some smaller projects recently? Like, what's your status in that regard?
Yeah, I've been playing. I kind of when Quake Champions came out, I wanted to sort of at least bring my um, I wanted to bring the history of who I was back in. I knew I was going to get clobbered, and I wasn't practicing. I was like, "Hey, there's an open spot. You want to play? Matches in 3 days." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I don't even know how the player movement works, with these characters and stuff like that." But I wanted to be in the community and to try and to just compete. Um, I do. I mean, I would love to compete in the games that I play. Like I play a lot of like Heroes of the Storm, just because I
Oh, okay.
love Blizzard games, and I played World of Warcraft for so long, which probably also messed up my pro gaming career a little bit. But um, I think that Vic and I play hot sometimes, and we kind of joke about it. It's like this is esports bingo, we call it. Because it's like a little bit of competition, but like it's like where the old esports pros will go to
All right, I see.
play
I get the
bingo
analogy
and
now there.
retire and drink orange sure and die one day. It's like where you send old esports pros out to pasture is kind of in that setting, and we joke around a lot about that. But I've done some things in the industry. I thought for a while about maybe doing some stuff with Blizzard. I went through a series of interviews with them to maybe be involved in Heroes of the Storm and do some in like a director of esports sort of capacity. I don't remember what the title was I was interviewing for, but ultimately it didn't happen for whatever reason. But I've been esports has been a really mixed bag for me. I think my career in esports, I felt like I sacrificed a lot of it to kind of do what I felt was more important, which was help build GGL and really take a shot at creating a gaming league and a community and to bring a community together and to push the production value behind it and to continue advocating with the media and to make investments and capital investments, to um, do the Hollywood style events, to break down the barriers with the media. And we made a lot of dumb decisions on the way, or I guess I wouldn't call them dumb decisions, but there was not parity between, like there were young co-founders in GGL and then there were older co-founders.
Right.
And I think that, the younger co-founders like Amir and myself, we were on the front lines every day working with the people who were building the technology and running the tournaments and doing this. And the senior team was supporting the company more with, endless fundraising, which was very challenging in a time when, we were still fighting these stigmas about esports. But um, just there are certain decisions that were made. Like one great example is GGL got a lot of ridicule for using the term V Sports instead of esports, and it was there were a lot of reasons why that decision was made. In the mid 2000s, if you were in the tech space, you were basically just inundated. And I think Apple, started this trend of the iMac and the i this
Right.
and
Okay.
eHarmony and this, and it was like, oh my God, Christ, guys, really, you want to call this esports? Like this is, people are laughing about this. Like let let's be a little bit. Let's not be the next casualty of that, oversaturized
Okay.
marketing, thing of which calling it esports. And so, but at the same time too, if it was important to the community, but I mean, there was a collective groan against from the gamers that were in the office, especially the people that were involved in technology that were like, esports really, like e hyphen or
Right. I
however,
see.
red eye and the and the people that are out there formed a committee to go out there and make sure that
Sure.
any use of the word in
Yes.
any other format is expunged and people who use it are ridiculed. But the I think a lot of the thinking behind that was what's most palpable to the media and what translates best to the media and what will meanwhile, at the same time, Ted Owen of GGL had this dream of elevating esports into be an electronic sport at the Olympics. And so what was the best way to package that? Was it more like virtual sports? And we saw that VR could eventually become something that was in that that played a part in that. So that was kind of the reason why the decision was made to use V Sports. But there was pretty much all the hardcore gamers pushed back against it. But like you can only fight your battles so long with people internally that we felt like it was okay to just do that. But I think that people throw a lot of barbs about that decision, but they don't really have the context behind it, which is that we felt it was a much more effective way of communicating to the press. We thought that virtual sports was much more inclusive of a broader range of sports, especially ones when you have like football and soccer. FIFA event became huge and Madden became
Right.
huge, and I thought that was a better way of communicating it to the mainstream, or that was at least a compelling enough argument of why it should be done. So that was why we ended up doing it. But and we had an event called the V Sports All Stars where you know we invited some of the best players from across
Yeah,
about
sure.
eight different games and flew them to E3 and made a showcase out of it and did coverage of it and commentation and elevated it and put it in front of a lot of people. And whether it has a V in front of it or an E in front of it, I'm proud as hell of what we were trying to do to break down barriers for esports in the mainstream.